So hello everybody, it is me, Demetra and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering thought Democrat Saadiq. I call him a thought because he was on the internet, on his Facebook page, I'm sure all his other social media pages without his shirt on, trying to show off his work in the gym. So yeah, he's thotting. I just want y'all to know that. Go check it out if you get a chance. So anyway, this is the Demetra K Show where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. Also, like to say right off the top, we are not live. This is pre-recorded, because I know sometimes people are like, hey, I'm talking to y'all. You're not paying attention. It's like, well, because we're not live. It's recorded. So I just wanted y'all to know that. Also, and you guys know I wasn't here on Sunday. I was in Vegas celebrating my sister's 50th birthday, and it was one for the records. I will say that we saw Usher, was totally awesome and everything like that. So I am back in the saddle for a while. I am not good. Donovan's good. I'm sure going to tell you all about it. I'm back in the saddle for a while. I won't be leaving anytime soon. So I'll be here, with you guys. Tomorrow's Wealth Wednesdays. We'll be here live with Walter. Today we're going to talk about something that Minister Louis Farrakhan said. As you guys know, also this last weekend was Savior's Day for the Nation of Islam. And of course, the address is always given by that of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Also going to hear a story that Donovan endured today. And, we're going to have a talk. I'm sure it's going to be maybe a little bit heated. I don't know. Y'all know how we get down. And then also we're going to talk about something, a sister, she wants to say something to the passport bros, okay? I also wanted to let y'all know that this conversation we have, I try to make them even. So what I'm saying is I try not to make it to where it's too heavy on the women or too heavy on the men per se. So I try to make it as even as possible, and so we can have a well-rounded conversation. Also like to say before I give it to Donovan, sorry for freezing up a little bit. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it'll catch up. That Donovan and we often have heated opinions. We rarely disagree about certain things, including relationship stuff, but it's all love at the end. So do not get too panicked, if you will. We're still going to be friends the next day. So Donovan, what say you?
Hey, if you want to be on Team Demetra, you go ahead and be on that losing team now. If you want to be on Team Donovan, be on Donovan. So no, welcome to the Demetra K podcast. Great to have you guys back. Demetra is back in the saddle now. Even though I was doing my thoughting on the internet, Demetra and her sister, when they get together, stuff just happens. So I'm going to tell you, her little sister turned 50, fabulous 50, and let me tell you, she looked fabulous. Let me tell you, she looked fabulous. So do us a favor, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And again, even become a member and subscribe, because Demetra, not only does she do the podcast, she drops throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, inside of videos that you might find very, very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting conversation today, because as I was leaving the gym and I went to the base commissary, which is like the base grocery store, there was two young ladies, and I'm going to talk about exactly what transpired with that and what is wrong with it. So let's get into that.
All right. So again, I don't know why we're kind of glitching a little bit. It's probably the program we're using. So hopefully you guys can hear and see us pretty good. All right. So here we go with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Again, it was a Savior's Day address, the annual Nation of Islam, where they pay homage to that of Master Farad Muhammad. His birthday is actually February 26th, so this was perfect that it fell on the day 1877 is when it said he was born. And this is partially what Farrakhan said. I sped it up a little bit because y'all know sometimes the minister likes to take his time, so it is sped up. Here we go.
Find a woman as a man that you love, you pursue her. Nothing wrong with that. Just don't try to get into bed before you get wet. Now, did I say something wrong? I'm going to tell you why it's not wrong. Do you know, sisters, when you have slept with many men, and one day you meet a good man, and you say, I like him. And he says, well, I'm going to make a commitment to you. You don't never heard that kind of language. Because the moment they say they like you, they mean, and you all know how they hit on you, and you don't mind. And so you get pregnant, and then all of a sudden you don't see them anymore. So, what happened to our love? My love, the minute you gave him what he wanted, he don't want you no more. Because Susie down the street, he's looking at her, and she's entertaining him. And you know why you're not happy as a young person? Because you're so out of the nature of your creation. Let me take, look. You can't be happy screwing everybody. That's, if you pardon my expression, that's jackass behavior. And you can't be happy if you let every man that likes you and you like them enter you. Happiness comes with living by law. See? And if you want to live by law, you don't want sex before you know something more about this person that you want in your life. See, you wait late. You in the bed all wrapped up and pregnant and messed up, and then you find out, damn, is this the way this cat is? That's a hell of a thing for you to wait to find out. Joy should be in our relationships, but joy comes in the morning when you come through the darkness of the night, a righteous person.
What say you, Mr. Saadiq?
When does the minister ever not make sense? When does he ever not, tell it like it is? When is it not logical? When does it not make sense? I mean, I can't disagree with anything that he said there. And even though he was, talking about the women and them letting men sleep with them, what kills me is he's also talking about the men. What gets me is like that conversation, that little piece right there would go over a lot of men's heads. And they would say, oh, yeah, he's talking to the women. He's talking to the women. No, he's talking to the men, too. He's talking to the men, too, because if you're going to be doing this type of stuff in the neighborhood, you're not happy either. You're not settling down to a good choice. You're not doing, he's paraphrasing the women, but it also applies to the men, too. If you're out there sleeping and doing what he said the woman was doing, men do the exact same thing. So, that's what kills me about it, how one group of people will think it's just talking about the other group, and it isn't. He's talking about us as a whole.
Absolutely. I got that as well. But for me, I want to speak more to the ladies because he's absolutely right. And I love what he said. I actually came up with something over the weekend. If we're not jumping a broom, we're not sharing a room, which means that we're not shacking up, because like you said, you get in the bed before you wet, you get wet and you married is basically what he's saying. Is like, that's not a commitment. And I love how he said it too. Like you said, he's talking to about the men, but it's like women, be smart. Yeah, a man that say, I want to commit to you, he's thinking of basically sex. He's not thinking of, y'all not even thinking of the same thing. You're thinking, oh, he's going to be my man. And he's thinking, I'm just going to get in the pants, that because I tell her anything. And like you said, we as women, we like to hear that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, he's made me his officially. But making you his officially is putting the ring on your finger and actually going through with the ceremony. That's how you belong to him. And I'll tell you something, my mom used to say back in the day, if your job application says single, even if you got a man or a woman, you are still single. So the commitment is not fulfilled until he or she jumps over the broom and gets married and all of that, right? Now he also said, there's about women being with many men. Now, I guess the many is subjective. Well, how many is too many, right? But I think we can kind of ascertain what many is. A woman that's just letting, any man just jump up and down on her, not, discreet or discretion, use discretion about who she's with. And then he says pretty soon before you know it, you're pregnant and he takes off. And she's like, what happened to our love? And it's like, well, first of all, was it love or was it lust? Because again, like the minister said, he got you with, oh, I want to commit to you. But if you really think of the true sense of commitment, it's like, no, we go through the whole thing, right? We get it on paper that we are committed, not something you saying out your lips, because as he said, that he going to take himself down to Susie's house and rapping the same old game to her. And they already involved after he done left you in a lurch, as some people will say. And so he says, it's jackass behavior, which is hilarious. And I think he was more or less talking to the men and the women, but it's jackass behavior to just be screwing everything. Those are his words. Sometimes the minister does put a little bit extra seasoning on stuff, but he said just screwing everything. It's jackass behavior, and it is, because as Donovan, you mentioned a lot about animals. That's stuff animals do. Animals, I don't know, maybe they have some courting process type of thing. I know there's some pheromones and stuff, but they just jump on and, just whatever, right? We as humans are supposed to be a little bit more elevated. We ain't supposed to just be going around and humping and screwing and just eating everybody, right? And then, of course, he says, women, you got to be careful who you let enter you. And I know, like, somebody's probably saying, well, sex is kind of it's a two-way street. Yes, but I think it should also be known, as has been said before, that sex for a man is different for a woman. Now, I'm going to try to be as clean as I can here. The man is doing the entering. The man is administering the pressure, unless you into something else. I don't know. But typically speaking, the man is giving all the pressure and depositing things into you. And so why, if you really think about what I just said as cleanly as I could as a woman, why would you want just any man to do that to you, right? Because he gets up, whatever, and he can go do that. Even if you get pregnant, he can go impregnate a couple women a day if he wanted to, I guess if he, got more than 2 minutes in him. And so he also says you need to live by law. Now, the law, of course, would be, I guess, the Bible, the Quran, or basically any law. Or a law is really a set of rules, a way of doing things, right? So what are the rules to a commitment? As I said, a commitment is we getting married. It's not we're shacking up, or you saying I'm your man or your woman. Nah, we need to actually go through it. So those are the steps and the rules of things living by law. Then, of course, he said you need to wait. And that's where they get, the courtship, right? And a courtship is not rushed. It's not, oh, you look good, I look good, let's jump in the bed, I get pregnant. And then, like he said, now you get pregnant, you're like, damn, this how this cat is? He just took off and left. But it's like you kind of probably would have knew a little bit more about him if you didn't get all up in your head, because he said, I wanted to commit to you, right? So now you stuck with the baby. What do they say in our community? Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And he off with Susie, about to probably do the same thing to her. So it's more or less like you got to be able to wait a thing. And then and last he says joy comes in the morning. Basically that you have to wait. You might be, and I'm gonna kind of put it on with my own interpretation on it. In the night, it's basically talking about people who are mourning, going through certain things at night. It seems kind of rough, but in the morning, it's like, okay, there's a little bit more clarity. I feel a little bit more better. So I think what he was saying is, even if you're lonely as a woman or a man, and somebody comes to you and they're like, oh, I think you're fine. Like, okay, I'm lonely right now, but do I want to give up what I'm going through now for any old body who may not be good for me? So it's basically saying you got to go through it and really battle test the situation to make sure that is good for you. And then he says, because in relationships, there's supposed to be joy. It's not supposed to be angst and worry and, all the other stuff. Now you have joy when you really figure out who you're with and if they're really good for you. So Donovan?
Absolutely. I agree with everything that you just said there. Now, one thing that kind of hit me when you went on into your soliloquy there that I agree with is the fact that what did the minister actually describe when he's talking about the guy that left this one chick and goes into the other? It is proven statistically fact that 20 or 30% of men impregnate 70 or 80% of the children in the Black community. That's something that the great Kevin Samuels had said is going on, because 52% of men are childless in the Black community, right? So that's the guy that everybody's talking about, the guy that goes from chick to chick to chick to chick, right? Because, how do you have time to be doing that? And the women fall for it. And if you look in a lot of communities, how many of us in our communities have a guy in the community that has multiple babies for, the women in the community and stuff like that? And that kind of hit me when you were going into and what the minister described, that Pookie, Ray, or Day Day, whoever these guys are that run around in the community, very irresponsible, impregnating women and telling them what they want to hear. There was a story, I think, in Tennessee of that guy that had like 30 children from 11 different moms, So, and another thing is, I know me and Demetra get into our thing about that, but we are regulated as mammals with other animals. We are a higher species of animals. And as humans, we are the only species of animal that mates for pleasure. We don't necessarily mate to procreate. Most animals in the animal kingdom, they only mate to procreate. They go into a season of, like the women go into heat, animal women, like cats and dogs, they go into heat and stuff. And then that's their cycle to mate, and the guy jumps on them, whatever the deal is. But outside of that, animals don't mate. They just kind of separate to themselves. Humans are the only animals that do that. But again, it's just something that is the saying when the minister was talking about women. What I got of what he was saying when it comes to women was he's basically saying, hold yourself to a higher standard. You know what I mean? I mean, again, a nation only rises as far and as high as it keeps its women. So if this woman is just out here, just willy-nilly, just doing what she's doing, like an irresponsible man, the nation will not last very long.
I was just trying to look up some data because you said that Kevin Samuels was more or less like there's, what do you say, 20% of the men are making the
about 20 or 30% of the men are making 80%, 70-80% of the babies in the community.
Okay, so basically he's saying, I'm trying to think about it, 70 to 80% of the men are good, or they're fatherless, right? So 20.
Well, yeah, what he's saying is like, okay, like when you have the women that are single mothers and the fathers aren't there for whatever reasons, the number, but basically what he's saying is 52% of Black men do not have children. That's statistically been proven. We do not have children.
Okay, so I don't have time to look that up. I take your word for it. Because I was just looking and I said, well, how many Black women in America are mothers? And I didn't get to that just yet, but it says that in 1990, 3.4 million, I think that's what it said. I mean, double check. 3.4 million households were ran by single mothers, Black women. And now in 2021, 4.2 million. So it's an uptick, actually, by almost a million more in 2021, single Black mothers. And so what I wanted to know is, are Black women becoming more horny and irresponsible, or are Black men impregnating more women? I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Like, what's the uptick about? What do you think that is?
Well, looking at the numbers, if 70% supposedly of Black households are run by women, and about 70% of men, or if 30% of those men are impregnating 70% of the population, I can see why the women are leading these households in those numbers. You know what I mean? There's like a correlation to the number, but it's not an exact correlation. But we do know that 52% of Black men do not have children.
Did he say what the percentage of Black women that don't have children?
No, I think he didn't go into that.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't know either. So I would need to know what the percentage of Black women that are childless as well. And again, yeah, there's a lot going on, but I always say too, yeah, there's a lot of single Black mamas out there, and I hear the argument of Black women need to, make better choices than men. Yeah, that's true too. But then why not just be a better choice of man? Like I'm never going to deviate from that question, because I just think you cannot have the conversation about one without bringing that into the conversation, right?
Well, yeah, but again, men control relationships. Women control access to sex. That's you guys are the gatekeepers to sex. So, and unless it's like a really bad situation, like a grape situation or something like that, that's something that's beyond your control. But at the end of the day, women do control access to sex. Men control relationships. I'm going to be the one that's going to say if we're going to get married, or if I want you to be my monogamous woman. Women, like you always say, women don't be asking men to get married. That's out of order, right? So yeah, so it's always going to be like that, and how we look at it. But again, we're in a modern age and things are a little bit different, and there's a little leeway here and there, and and how things are doing it. So depending on what works in your relationship and how you run across a man, it is what it is. But, as we know, when we talk about monogamy in the Black community and polygamy in the Black community, we even did a show on it a couple months back where it's like, well, what's the difference if Ray Ray over there has 4 different women that have babies for him in the same community? I mean, this is actually happening in real time. I'm not saying it's factual in the aspect it happens in every situation, but we know in our communities, there's a guy that has 2 or 3 girls that have babies for him, and yet another girl has a baby for him, even though she's been given all the pitfalls of avoid this guy or whatever, so it does happen.
Yeah. I mean, and to that polygamy argument, not every woman wants to be with a man that's with a whole bunch of women. And, your Pookie and Ray Rays and your Shaniquas and Boonquishas, no shade to those people, just using those names, that they don't define the rest of the Black community. But unfortunately, that's where the litmus test is, right? Because I don't know if any woman that says, well, yeah, I do know one, but most women I know, they're not cool with sharing a man, and they've been very clear about that. And so, yeah, there's some situations where you got a Pookie, he's running around the neighborhood and he's jumping on everybody's daughter and they giving them babies and stuff. I mean, but that ain't the norm, right? That's not the norm. But I think it also something should be said about the fathers who are doing that. Goddamn well, excuse my French, that you just made a baby with homegirl over here. Then you went and jumped on this woman and you made a baby with so what point do you say as a man, because I get it, that it ain't that many from what you're telling me, 50% of the men, they ain't got no baby. But then there's the other 50% of the men, because most men I know, okay, got multiple baby mamas. Multiple meaning more than one. So I'm trying to figure out where all these men is. Yes, I said is. Where all these men is at that ain't got no kids, because I don't really know nothing like that. I'm just keeping real with you. But so what point does Pookie or Ray Ray say, all right, I already had a child with a woman I don't want to be with. I can barely take care of myself. I can't take care of the child. Let me abstain. Let me put some on my John. Let me just go on and just not do it, right? Like, what needs to be said to Pookie that's with these, and I'm going to say it, these silly women, because Demetra is not going to get, one thing to tell you about my baby daddy is I was the first baby mom, okay? He got 2 other ones, but I was the first. But one thing about Demetra is I'm not going to be giving no babies to a Negro that got a whole bunch of baby moms. That just ain't going to be me. If I was in that, not child rearing age no more, hallelujah. But if I was, and I met a guy, he talking about, well, I got 3 or 4 of the baby mamas and I could be pregnant, or have a baby, I would not. No. Because one thing, I'm not going to be part of no tribe, no harem. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, you didn't stay with those mamas. You already taking care of those babies. Or I think I got a pretty good example of what's going to happen with me and you. You know what I mean? So what needs to be said to Pookie to stop doing that?
Okay, well, there's a lot that needs to be said to Pookie, because, again, isn't it funny that the systemic rise of Pookie happened in the modern age of the feminist movement in the 70s and, all this other stuff that was happening? I'm not saying it's a woman's fault. I'm saying it was a rise in that, because back in the day, in our parents' day, when a woman ended up in a situation, he was visited by the brothers and the father. And a lot of marriages in our parents' days were shotgun weddings. Remember those things that were happening where they were like, okay, my daughter's pregnant. What are you going to do about it? And there was pressure put on the fathers to take care of their responsibilities. Now, with the rise of the 70s come up, it's like my mom always says, and she's a very wise woman, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that's happening now it was happening then. It's just that it was either behind closed doors or kept secret. How many of us right now, have an older person that passes away and you find out that person's really wasn't a Smith, he was really a Johnson, and all these secrets start coming out, and a lot of secrets went to the grave. So there's nothing new under the sun. The thing is, with the rise of women taking leadership in the homes, a lot of guys coming back from Vietnam, and that's a small group of men that came back from Vietnam. A lot of guys got on drugs. And this is the baby boomer generation started all this. They're the ones that really rebelled against the traditional norms of what was going on previous to them coming on the scenes as adults. The drugs, all of that stuff. A lot of that stuff happened with them. So it starts with them. So with the rise of the mother taking the household, what are these women telling their sons if they come up with a situation? A lot of them are saying, how you know that's your baby? I'm just saying a lot of them, and that's not all. How you know that's your baby? You know, they're very defensive about their sons, right? A good example, even a better example, when I had my first child, first thing my mom asked me was, are you sure it's yours? You know, da, 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 da. I said, yeah, you know, whatever. It's dealing with that. So, but of course, my mom didn't raise any simps. So she was like, well, you know what you got to do? You got to handle your business, whatever. But there's a lot of men in the last 2 generations that have been raised to basically thwart their responsibilities. Accountability, it's bad enough. A lot of women don't want accountability. So if women in general who are raising these kids don't even take responsibilities themselves, what are they teaching their sons? It would be almost the same thing. They're not really teaching accountability to these kids. So that's why these guys are running around doing what they want to do. How many of them went to jail for bullshit and they put mama's house up as collateral to get to bail him out? That was a whole bunch of people in the 80s that were doing that. So, I mean, it's a problem in our community. And it's not like a woman's problem. It's a man's problem because the men are not there.
I mean, you kind of said it at the end, you know, you said the rise of Pookie happened during the feminist movement and all that other stuff. And of course, you know, right now you said the daddies wasn't around. So I don't even know where to go with that. But it's like, where were the daddies in during the feminist movement in the where the rise of the Pookies was going on?
Well, remember I told you, I'll tell you, remember I told you what the dads were doing. The baby boomer generation walked away from a lot of their responsibilities and turned their backs on traditions that they were taught because they had all of this new freedom and access to economic mobility.
I mean, I guess that there's a lot of things, but so speaking of a Pookie, I have a question to ask you. I have a question to ask you. A Pookie is a man that has multiple baby mamas, right?
Yeah, Pookie is the guy that's a knucklehead in the community.
But he got multiple baby mamas.
Possibly. But in most cases, in most cases he does. But not all Pookies have babies.
Would you consider yourself a Pookie?
No.
Why not?
Why not? Because I took care of my responsibilities. That's the difference.
Okay, so a Pookie is not just a man that, and no shame you, because like I said, I don't know of any man that has just one. I don't really know personally any men that have less than one baby mama. Most men I know they got 2 or more. So I'm just wondering now. Does that make them a Pookie? You got a lot of men that got children with women they didn't marry, so it's like...
Just think about it. A Pookie's a knucklehead, and if he's not taking care of his children, the kids are going to become knuckleheads too. So he's not taking care of his responsibilities.
Let me ask you this, though. I'm just trying to gain some understanding. Pookie, wouldn't it be kind of knucklehead behavior if you're having children with women and you ain't staying around with those women? Now, I understand there's this one woman, all right, she got some issues. But you got a couple of women and you ain't staying with none of them? Ain't that kind of knucklehead behavior?
Well, again, you got a lot of men that do get married. Okay, everybody is entitled to a mistake. Your baby daddy is a war veteran. So a lot that happens when guys come back from war, they have babies and whatever. And whatever your relationship was, it is what it is. You can't make a man or a woman stay in a relationship. It's been statistically proven 80% of all divorces, 70 to 80% of all divorces are initiated by women. Men do not lead. I'm talking about marriage. I'm just talking about marriage.
Because most Pookies ain't even got married. So
right, exactly. But I'm talking about marriage. So what I'm saying is, with these no default laws and stuff. So like the guys that because you don't know a lot of Pookies, from my understanding, you don't know a lot of Pookies, unless you do. But from my understanding, so you're dealing with people like myself who, yeah, I had a go for a baby, just like you did. But then I also got married. And then for whatever reasons, my wife left the marriage. I didn't leave the marriage. She left the marriage, and we had a child within that marriage. So, that's something I can't control. So that's why you have guys that have multiple women in the scenario like that.
True. But there's a lot of guys who got babies that mamas that they never married.
I don't really know. Like, I know what you're talking about, but like I said, the people that I'm around are usually in a situation like myself. Either they had young indiscretion and then they got married and then it didn't work out and then they went about their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is Pookie, because we get a thing about the Pookies. We think about robbing and stealing and killing and doing all of the degeneracy. But I've said this before. I think there's a lot of men are Pookies, but they don't know that they Pookies. I think it's Pookie behavior for you to have multiple baby mamas and you ain't married not one of them. And that don't mean you're a bad guy, like you're out there stealing and robbing and killing, but you made these babies and you did not stay with their mama. So you made the first baby, then stayed with the mama, and you got in a relationship, humped on that lady, got her pregnant, and then stayed with her. Then you went and you humped on another lady, got her pregnant, and you didn't stay or marry her for whatever the reason is. So it's like, to me, that's Pookie behavior, in that you know that you are procreating with women, whether let's say she's the worst woman in the neighborhood. She's the 304, the queen of the 304s. Okay, I'm not even trying to say this woman is good, right? But as a man, you're laying down with all these women, put a baby in this one, put a baby in that one, now one of them has jumped the broom, which you ain't never made no commitment to none of them. And so it's like, to me, what ain't that the definition of being a Pookie? Because you ain't nothing wrong with you to where your reasoning skills is off. Like, okay, I think in elementary school, if you was my family, you heard about how to procreate from a very young age. And it wasn't the birds and the bees. You know that you have a hole and you stick something in a hole and you implant something, you're probably going to start a baby, right? So I don't think that takes you to be a rocket scientist. So if you are hopping on woman, I'm not trying to be gross today, y'all, but you're hopping on woman, giving her babies, and you never once think there's a problem. That's Pookie behavior.
Well, and that's one way to look at it. But let's look about this. There's over 40 forms of birth control for women. There's over 4 to 5 for men. How in the modern age, and this has always been my question, how in the modern age do women get pregnant when they really don't have to? How are you having sex and not, the guy has a condom or whatever, that's fine. But that's not 100%, as we know. How are these women getting pregnant when there's over 40 types of preventive pregnancy things out there that they should be trying? I don't understand why babies are being brought here when,
Well, this, from having a little bit of information, birth control is not 100%. Okay, there's these variables. So even if it's like a point. 1/10% or whatever it is, they're still probable, right? There's probability that you can get a woman pregnant. Now, the only thing that is foolproof is abstinence, right? Of course, people do not want to do that, which is what the minister was saying. Well, like, why are you jumping into bed with people you don't know nothing about? You don't even know if he gonna stick around, because he's speaking to the women. He don't even know if he's gonna stick around and take care of the baby. So what happens is, when you create something in a committed union, you're married and all of that, it's probably going to be less likely, not foolproof, but that you guys will go your separate ways, right? You'll think twice, I think, within that relationship. But if you do not want to create a baby, because we know it takes a man and a woman to do that, regardless of what people say, just don't do it. Keep your thing in your pants. Ladies, keep your skirts down and your underwear up, and then you say, all right, I'm hot and bothered. I'm sure you're hot and bothered too, but should we be doing this? Because at the end of this, we could create a baby and we don't work out, and now we got, I'm Boomquisha now, and you're Pookie, and we got this child out there that's not in a unified household. So it's on both people to not procreate. And anybody, what they call people who rely on birth control? You have an idea what they call them?
Idiots.
Parents. That's what they call people who rely on birth control, right? So don't have sex with people you're not intending on being with. And that's that. So, and that's how you stop the rise of the Pookie. I know Pookie has some other things. And again, I want to say it's not all on the woman, the mama. That Pookie is who he is. However, as the honorable, the late doctor, she's honorable as well, Ava Muhammad said, Black women, that you are the head of the household. A lot of these situations, maybe through no fault of your own or whatever, you are in that role. You still need to be careful to turn out good human beings, right? So you still have control, you should, over what these children do. But the other thing of that is, you know, as men, I can't tell y'all what to do, but if you don't want to be with that woman, don't be in that woman. Hey, that's a word right there.
That's a word right there. But the thing is too, and here's nothing when it comes to men. I look at these young men having 3 and 4 children by the time they're 22 years old. I mean, I only had 2 and I barely survived when the dollar was really high. I barely survived. I'm looking at these guys like, what woman in her right mind at 22, 23, maybe 25 years old looks at a man that already has 2 children and think I'm going to have a great future?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time. My phone rang.
Well, I'm looking at when these guys that are young, fairly young guys have 2 and 3 kids by the time they're 23 years old, right? When I had my 2 children, the dollar was way stronger than it is today. I barely survived trying to support those 2 children, and I was working my ass off, right? So when I see these young people bringing in kids and stuff like that, it makes me wonder, what are our women thinking when they see a guy that says, yeah, I have 2 baby mamas, but I got 3 kids with 2 baby mamas, thinking that they're going to have a successful future with that man?
I mean, I'm going to keep it real with you. I think they're dummies. I think they're stupid. And I know, you know, I've been getting kind of loose with my words, but I just think you're stupid. I think you're a dumb woman that you would lie down with a man who already has children by women he didn't commit to. And then you want a baby by him. What about that is attractive? And why don't you? Because clearly, I think it's obvious that man has a lack of commitment. He's committed for the moment. He's committed for the romping and the rolling around up in the bed, but he ain't committed for long term. And so, as a woman that looks at a man and you know he's got a bunch of children by a bunch of women that he didn't commit to, and you want to let him put his seed in you, I would ask you to rearrange your understanding and ask yourself, why do you think you're special? What about you? Do you think you possess that those other women didn't possess?
Because I'm going to make him, Demetra. I'm going to build him. I got what they don't have.
No, you're not building up. See, and I'm speaking to especially women who, I'm not in the child rearing ages, okay? I can't have no kids. I'm keep saying that. But even if I could, I'm not laying down with no man with the purpose of having the babies. And I know he got babies with women he didn't commit to. You know what I mean? And that's how you hold people accountable. You fine and everything like that. But, bruh, what was wrong with those women? You got all these baby mamas in the dust, and you trying to tell me was something wrong with every last one of them? See, I'm one of those people I believe in is a numbers game, right? Now, some of those baby mamas probably was rotten, but you're telling me you didn't have nothing to do with that, but somehow she wasn't rotten enough for you to put your dang-lang up in her and put some seeds in her, though. So that's
she was a stripper. She was a stripper.
No,
she was a stripper.
I mean, you know,
OnlyFans, meet up.
But you know what, though? That's still on you. And so that's what I would say to the ladies. When a man come to you talking about he got all these baby mamas and children and all this stuff, and he ain't commit to one of them, you need to ask yourself, well, why would I want to be with somebody who, you know, didn't respect the women he was with? He ain't going to respect you either. I mean, I'm just saying. You want a child, you know, you got turkey basters. I'm just playing. But anyway, I don't know. I just, for me as a woman, especially if I was trying to have a children, I would not entertain having children with a man that has multiple baby mamas. He just does not want to commit. He likes the sex and the feel good, but he doesn't like commitment. I think that's pretty obvious, right?
And the same thing for fellas. When you see a woman that has multiple baby daddies, it's the same thing. It's you can flip it right over. You know, what good for the goose is always good for the gander.
I mean, I don't have a dispute with that, which is why, you know, as I said, I proudly toot my own horn. I only got one child. I had my child when I was 21. I got one child. I got one baby daddy. Love him. I do. You know what I mean? But as I said, I was not going to be a woman with a whole bunch of baby daddies, and no shade to anybody who is. This is not to shame anybody. I'm just speaking my story. I didn't want that. I didn't want that situation for myself. It's just a lot to deal with.
But you also had a mother that told you correctly the information you needed to know. A lot of these women, and I'm not shading on them, their mothers aren't doing that.
Right. And that's why I keep asking, where are the big mamas? Where are the big papas? You know, they're missing in action. And we need those women and those men. And that's us. But at this point, I'm 51, you're 72. At this point, the big mamas and daddies, the big papas are us. That's our generation.
Yeah, and I agree. The era of don't say nothing, baby. That was our parents' era. Don't say nothing, baby, or let them go ahead and do that. No, that was the stupidest advice. Think about how many of our peers went down the wrong road because their grandparents didn't want to say nothing and upset them and all that. Those days are over. You're right. We need to step up and start speaking, even if the kid takes no action on it. The point is, and this is one thing I love about my mom. She would say something, and it's on the record. So I can't come back to her and say, well, you never told me. No, I can't go there. She said, what did I tell you about such and such? Oh, yeah, you said that. Hey, you made your own decisions. You're on your own. It needs to be said if these people take the advice or not. All this, well, don't say nothing, baby. You might upset them. Upset them, because it's going to be worse tying yourself to a man that you really don't know in and out. He's trying to kill you. There was a story on YouTube I saw where this guy in Detroit, he killed his two stepchildren and his own 2 children and sliced the mother or whatever. And they gave him life or whatever. And the guy was just done. You know, he came out of prison. It was a big messed up story. But that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. I would rather say something so that you could make a better decision and upset you now than be tied to some dirtbag down the road.
And upsetting is you going out there and getting knocked up, and then you trying to bring all them babies home, and I tell you no. Now that's upsetting. So it would behoove you to listen to wisdom, right? To listen with somebody. And that's what I say about this younger generation. And it's our fault. I'm not going to lie to kick it. It is our fault that they hard-headed and they cannot take advice, right? And I always tell people, it's like my daddy said, if you cannot take my advice, you can't take my money. You can't take nothing else from me if you can't take my advice. And as he also say, let your knowledge take you where your knowledge is going to take you. And so, as I always tell the people, you know, the younger people around me, it's, you know, especially with my daughter, I know everything I say to you, you don't like, you want to do it your way, and you can. But I'm telling you, this is probably how you should do it. It's up to you. However, if you jump out, not saying that she is this way, but if you jump out in that water and you can't swim, you're going to ask me to throw your life raft. But you would have been better off if when I said, look, don't get out there because you probably can't swim in that, you probably said, all right, I'm going to take your word for it type of thing. So I don't care about hurting these young people's feelings. I really don't. You know why I don't care? Because it's that we are, as our generation, as you said, don't say nothing to them, don't say them. We are too in love with these children. And a lot of them, the older children, we don't hurt their feelings. Or, you know, I don't give a damn about your feelings. I really don't. Let's be logical here. Because feelings has gotten us all in a lot of trouble. But if we are able to think logically about situations, then we can avoid that situation. And as I always tell everybody, you know, when they ask me about my daughter and grandkids, stop asking me about grandchildren. And you have not asked me about a son-in-law. See, that we have glorifying the wrong things in our community. And to me, that's a teaching moment. Well, yes, keep asking me about my grandchildren. Do you care that she got a man? You care that I got a son-in-law? Because, see, that's the proper order of things to me. I don't live in this new world where it's like, well, you know, they just shacking up and, you know, they just doing their thing, baby. Nah, I ain't teach mine that.
Right, or that thing, grandma's got a date. What? Grandma's boyfriend. What?
Well, you know, yeah, you know, and I don't necessarily have a problem with grandmama having a boyfriend, but I do have a problem with grandmama bringing boyfriends in and out. And like as I always tell you, ladies, you'll never know everything that a lady does because ladies know how to keep her business to herself. She ain't all up on the internet, busting it open for everybody and telling everybody her every move. I didn't know everything. My grandma, my mom's mom was married. My other grandmother was not, but I didn't know everything she was doing because that's what ladies did. They, you know, As far as you know, she holy sanctified. She go to church 15 days a week. And that's all you need is she could cook a hell
Come
of
to
a
find
pie.
out, she's that lady that was in the club with the drink on the table.
But guess what? I never knew that, right? All I knew was my grandmama cooked a hell of a sakatumi cake. Now she might have been socking it to me somewhere else, but I never knew that. And that's the point, right? And so I saw my grandmother as the matriarch of the family, and she was respectable. We could talk to her. She could give us advice. But nowadays, and this is why I have an admonishment for women. We're going to get to other topics, but this is why I have an admonishment for women, especially my age, is like I block and unfollow women, and I don't care who you are, but especially women my age, and you still twerking on the internet, and you got everything showing. It's like, what example are you setting for your children or anybody who may be watching you? Like, you are supposed to be, like, when I get some grandchildren, I want them to say, my granddie, because that's what they're gonna call me. My granddie is a respectable woman. I love my granddie. She's so smart. I can go to her for advice. My granddie is not all over the internet with all of her, 2 cotton balls and a Band-Aid on everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, because I looked at like that at my grandmothers. My grandmothers were, I don't want to say holy and sanctified. They went to church. I did see my mama's mama one day. I'm gonna tell you a story time real quick. One day was Easter Sunday. It was Easter Sunday. I never forget. It was 1993. I took my daughter to visit my grandmother, Santa Barbara. My baby was like 3 months old or whatever. So I was standing outside of the church with my grandmother, my grandmother's friend, and my grandfather was outside too. And there was these 2 women named Rose and Tina. I think they might be dead now. I don't know. But Rose and Tina was brushing my grandfather's, collar off. Do you know, this first time I seen my grandmother in this way, she went up to them ladies and went to my grandfather. She says, why these bitches dusting off your suit? And he goes, I got dandruff. He didn't know what to say. And she said, don't you know you got dandruff? And Miss Dean was her friend's name. Me and Miss Dean was like, Sister Dillon now. She's like, nah. But you know what? Like I said, I had always seen my grandmother. She was a lady, all of that. But it taught me a lesson that don't let the matching suits and the hats fool you, boo. What you're not gonna do is disrespect me in my face. Now my husband might be silly, and then maybe he was just more or less like, I don't know what to do type of thing. But she let him know under no circumstances will you be touching my husband. I'm telling you, it was at church when that happened. So that was the first time I saw my grandmother kind of let loose. But it also told me that my grandma was human. Yeah, she went to church, but she was human. But guess what? Rose and Tina never rolled up on my granddaddy no more either.
Well, like I said, when people talk about the big hat gang, them some serious women sometimes. The big hat gang in church. And let me tell you, it is true. Demetra will block you. I got a call Saturday when I was thoughting on the thing. She said, Negro, if you do not say
blocked. Exactly. So Donovan, what's your story? What had happened today?
Okay, I'm gonna make this. It's gonna be a real quick story too. Okay, I'm going to the commissary, which is the supermarket on the military base, and I see these 2 ladies, and I'm gonna assume that they were together because one was a man lady and one was a female lady. I get confused how to deal with these people and how to talk to them.
Gay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looked like they were together, and their thing was their car was on a flat. And so I wasn't the first one to walk up on it. Obviously, other guys had walked up and they said, you need any help? They're like, no, we don't need any help. And so I walk up, I'm like, hey, do you guys need any help? Because I noticed that they're trying to set the car up without taking the lug nuts and loosening the lug nuts first. And I said, well, you need to, I got it. We don't need no help. I got it. Okay. All right. So myself and a bunch of other guys, we were kind of sitting there just kind of watching because we know as men, they might not be as versed on this as it is. And it's raining out here as well, right? So I didn't want to see women out there for a whole hour to change a tire. That doesn't make any sense. So, she's trying to do the lug nuts. She doesn't have the upper body strength. As we know, women do not have upper body strength as much as a man does. And I'm a very small man compared to my contemporary. So, but again, I'm still a man. I'm still stronger than a woman. I loosened the lug nuts, for her. I said, hey, let me help you real quick. And I just kind of inserted myself and loosed them. Long story short, okay, we got it. Okay, thank you very much. I mean, she's just trying to brush the guys off. And we're just sitting here kind of like watching and talking among ourselves. We see the lady put the jack under the car. Now, I don't know what movie she's watched. I don't know what her experience is. You just can't take a jack and just throw it under a car. There's like certain jacking points. And Demetra, you're a pretty self-sufficient woman. And you know that. Your dad was a mechanic, so you know that. And so we're trying to tell her, hey, as she's starting to jack the car up, don't do that. We got it. All right. We watched literally as this woman punctured the floorboard in her car. Okay. Now, my question to the thing was, and it took her at least 35, 40 minutes just to puncture the damn car. And we never got the wheel off the thing or anything like that because she was so upset when she punctured the thing and we had to tell her how to do all that. But the thing is this, ladies, and I want to tell you guys this. Just because you know how to do certain things doesn't mean you should, especially when a man wants to interject himself and help do that. Demetra will be the first to tell you if she can do a lot on her own, but she will tell you certain things. Just let the man do it. If he's going to do it, let the man do it. It's raining. These are things that men are built to do. And unfortunately, I know a lot of women think they could do everything a man can do, and that's just not true. And she damaged her car all because she would not let men step in to do something that would take about 15 minutes to do and be on your way.
Well, I'm going to quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and take it or let it alone. And I say that to say, if she did not want your help, leave it alone. I wouldn't even stood around and watched. I'd have said, okay, ma'am, I'll be in the store if you change your mind or whatever, but I would have let it alone after that point. I also want to say big ups to you and all the, anybody else who tried to help them. That's what men should do, whether you like it or not. That's how I feel. I think a man should offer to at least help. If they didn't want your help, then leave it alone type of thing, right? Now it sounds like she messed her car up, trying to do something that you probably could have done in 2 seconds or whatever. But I want to say that does not make her a bad person. I don't really know why she refused to help. And if you said she was kind of, on the, manly side, I'm going to try to, no offense. Maybe she felt like I got this, if she feels like she's the man in a relationship, then I'm going to take care of my baby. I'm the man. I'm going to change the tire, whatever the case is. Now, of course, you know how I feel about, men are physically stronger most of the time, but I still don't think that makes a woman less capable of changing a tire. I think a woman is capable of changing a tire just like a man is. Sounds like maybe that woman just didn't know what she was doing and maybe on the foolish side of not being able to take help. Now, if you ask me, I was out there changing the tire and it was raining and a gentleman came up to me. I'd be like, boo, I'll be inside. Let me know if you need something. Let me know if you need something. If I can, get you a drink of water, some soda, you want you something to eat, whatever. Just let me know when you're done. That'd have been me. But I don't think that made her a bad person per se. Because then again, too, you don't know what all her experiences were or are. You know what I mean? So
it was obvious she did not know how to change the tire.
Yeah, but that again. If I was y'all, I wouldn't have stood out there watching her. I'd have left. I said, all right, ma'am, if my offer still stands, if you need my help, you see me around, whatever. But I would have went on about my business because, the old people also say a hard head make a soft behind. Now, in retrospect, yeah, she probably should have taken the help. But then I don't know. You don't know why she said no. Again, maybe it's just I could do it. I got the same skills. I don't know what her situation was. But I don't think that makes her a bad person.
It makes her $4,000 in auto repair, $2,000 to $4,000 in auto repair.
Well, maybe she got the money. Maybe it's not a big deal to her. But I don't think it makes anybody a woman a bad person. Again, maybe.
But you also got to look at it like this real quick, D. This is why a lot of men will not interject themselves to help women when they're in certain situations. And all I'm saying, and I agree with you, if you offer, men should offer, and if they want to go about your business, that's true. But women got to understand that this is why men do not, especially these new younger men, they don't interject themselves into anything with women that might be in distress. And it's sad that we've reached that point in society today.
But I also think you're conflating the issue of rejection, because that's kind of what it is. I don't need your help type of thing. And it could have been something else. I mean, we know Ted Bundy. Y'all know I study serial killers, okay? Don't judge me. But Ted Bundy, I mean, he used some of those same tactics. Let me help, or whatever the case is. I'm not saying that about you, but you don't know what her experiences is. She might have thought she was a sadistic fool about the suburbs or whatever the case. You don't know what her thing is. And let's just put a little context to it too.
No, remember, I was on a military base, so I wasn't out the neighborhood type stuff. But go ahead.
Then a woman just a couple women got murdered up on military bases, one not too far from here. It's a whole Netflix movie.
Oh yeah, that's Fort Hood. They're having a bunch of problems over there. But what I'm saying is, we were all, we're in a military aspect. But go ahead.
I don't mean nothing. Y'all could have been having on robes of Jesus, like the 12 disciples. That don't mean nothing. But the point that I'm making is, I don't know. You don't know what her experiences are. And I think sometimes, I'm not saying you per se, but I think sometimes we take things personally when people tell us no. She has a right to tell you no. She has a right to tear up her own car and all of that kind of stuff. Now, it should have been better off to let you do it. Yeah, I'm sure she would have been. But, unfortunately, we don't live in a time where a lot of times women are safe, from taking help, quote unquote, or whatever it is. So you don't know what her situation was. Was she a bad person? No. Did she learn the lesson? Yes, she probably did. And maybe she was having a one-off. Maybe she does ordinarily know how to change a tire, and that day it went awry. You know what I'm saying?
She did not know what she was doing, period. Trust me. You can look at her. She had no clue.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. I say to you and the fellas, big ups to y'all for trying to help and take it on the chin. It wasn't y'all money, wasn't your car, wasn't your woman, and So anyway, let's get on to this third scenario here. It is a sister I saw on TikTok, and she has a word for you, beautiful passport bro. She's actually pretty concerned. Check it out.
I made a video, yo. I just made a video a few weeks ago talking about these passport bros. I said, when you go into these countries and not knowing the inner city, not knowing how people maneuver, not understanding the culture, but you think because you have a passport and a little cash in your bank account, you're going to go and secure a woman. Honey, you have no idea. And I put out that video for safety purposes. Now look at this.
And guys, they took everything. They took and guys, they took everything. They took
The worst is to come, baby. Trust me. If you want to do that properly, go live in that country for at least a year. Understand the culture, the people, and pick the proper woman if that's what you really want. But if you think you're going to take a trip for a week or 2 or a month and you're going to find you a wife, oh, you're about to get robbed. And you're going to get a lot of people who want to come to America, so they need a green card, so they will kiss your ass for that. And then dump.
Wow. Let me just say this right off the rip. Did y'all notice my sister's skin? Oh my God. It was just like dripping chocolate. It was just beautiful, beautiful skin, beautiful sister. Donovan, what is your opinion on what that lovely, beautiful chocolate sister said?
Okay, number one, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Number one, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, okay? That video is over 2 months old. Okay. And she's talking about, oh, you're going to get robbed, whatever. Yeah. That video's been old. I saw that a while back. And you can get robbed anywhere. There are women robbing and dragging. Wait, Nicki Minaj. She talks about that she used to drug men and rob them and stuff when she was a stripper. Am I correct? So what I'm saying is this passport bro bull crap, it's a distraction. We have a lot more issues going on in America with women being evicted that we talked about 4 or 5 months ago when the eviction moratorium was raised, than worrying about guys who are taking their resources and going overseas. It could happen here in America. America ain't no great place that's any different than any of these countries. That brother that was robbed in that video, that happened in Bogota, Colombia, or Medellin, Colombia.
Cartagena.
Yeah, Cartagena, sorry, in those areas, right over there. Of course, if you don't know what you're doing, that's going to happen. But that could happen right here in the United States, too. So it really doesn't matter what she's talking about. And when we're talking about passport bros, there's 2 sets of passport bros. You got the young 30 and younger, or maybe 35 and younger guys that are out there looking to have a good time. Look at that guy's age. Inexperienced, doesn't know what he's doing. Got robbed, of course. Now, I recently came back from the Dominican Republic. And Demetra, you've seen me in action when I'm overseas. I seem to know what I'm doing when I go places. So that video, in my opinion, was total BS, same old feminist BS. If a man wants to go over there and get robbed, yeah, he deserved to get robbed if he was that stupid. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to get robbed. He definitely does. But that's just old news. I mean, it's just a distraction. Who cares?
I just have to put my hand on my head because this is like, wow. So that was Cardi B, not Nicki Minaj. I want to put that out there. That was allegedly, as she said she did. I don't know. That said she was doing those things, robbing and drugging men. Okay. Yes, that could happen over here in America. I'm sure it happens all the time in America. But, and I'm going to go back to this other point I wrote down, but you skipped over what she said. But I think was the message really is y'all ripping and running over in these countries for a week or, a couple of days or whatever. And she said that y'all should live in those countries for a year, get to know the culture, get to know the people, get acclimated. But, a lot of y'all just running around there chasing kitty cat. You know what I mean? And so blinded by what's really going on. See, like I said, as a woman, I already know what those women are doing. Those women ain't stupid. Those women are highly intelligent, but unfortunately, a lot in the passport brothers movement think those women are stupid. And so they catch you off guard and then they, knock you in the head and get your pockets. So I agree with her. I think if you're going to move anywhere, at least learn the culture. But see, this 2-part passport bro movement that you're talking about, I disagree with your definition of the Thundercats, the 30 and under, because like I said, I was over there in the DR, okay? And I seen a bunch of older dudes. I didn't see a whole bunch of young dudes. I saw mostly old dudes over there at Sasua chasing the young women. I didn't see too many young dudes over there. So maybe it was just the day that it was, the off season for the young dudes to be over there.
Yeah, but you're talking about the Dominican Republic. Go ahead.
That's what we're talking about, the DR.
No, when we're talking about the passport, but it's more than the DR. It's where they run.
I'm talking about where I was. Because I don't be hanging out with the passport bros like that, except for the one time I went to the DR, okay? Now, I saw older dudes up in there, right? Especially that one club we went to. There's a whole bunch of Qs up in there, Q dogs, and rusty Negroes up in there with the younger. I don't want to say young because y'all got mad when I said they was barely legal, which some of them was, but I say the young women. There was a lot of old Negroes up in there. I didn't see too many 30 and younger dudes there, to be quite honest with you. So that other passport movement.
I'm 30 and younger.
Okay, Benjamin Button. Okay. Now, this passport bro movement, as we know it to be defined, the real version of it is I'm going to find a wife. And I'm asking you, Donovan, when is the wedding? I have not seen my invitation.
Because I haven't found it yet. I'm working on it.
You've been over there 5 times, brother?
4 times.
Okay, for who's counting? 4 times. 4 times.
Yep.
What
Enjoying
you doing?
myself, finding myself and immersing myself in the culture, right?
You immersing yourself in something, but it ain't the culture.
I immersing myself in the culture. I go to the beach every day, all the other good stuff, right? Right?
Nah, and you ain't immersing yourself in no culture.
Did we
If
not
I
go to
would've
the
seen-
first Catholic church in the Western Hemisphere? Did we not do that? Did we not go to the Canales Zone?
Who is this we?
Me, you, and Deanna. Did we not
And
do
who
that?
else?
Oh, and what's her name? I forgot her name.
Now, see, that's the point. That is the point I'm making. We didn't go see the oldest Catholic church in the Western Hemisphere. We saw that, right? But we saw that with, a pretty young tenderoni. And y'all was desecrating that oldest church up in there, too. I got the pictures. Y'all was desecrating the
I
church.
know. Holding hands in the Catholic Church and praying on our knees is desecration.
Y'all was desecrating the church. But to your point, I forgot her name. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the thing is, I forgot her name because she created a cardinal sin. You can't play somebody that knows how to play. Period.
What happened?
What do you mean what happened?
Girls know what happened.
Well, what happened was, okay, we're out there doing what we're going to do. And she went for the money. And I was like, no, that ain't going to happen. That's just not going to happen.
What do you mean she went for the money?
For her time. She wanted money for the time that we spent together. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I gave her, what I thought was the correct thing for, spending the time. But outside of that, no, I wasn't going to go beyond that.
So she hit you with a price tag. That's what happened. She hit you with a price tag.
Yeah. She hit me with a price tag that was unreasonable to the point. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a young cat and you're watching this broadcast or listening to this broadcast, and you go down to the DR and you spend time with a young lady or a lady there, their time is money. It isn't necessarily you're going to get the punani or nothing like that. That doesn't what it means. You could just meet somebody and they just want to show you around. You're still going to have to pay them a certain price. You should always negotiate the price up front before you take that person on.
So she's a prostitute.
No. Did you hear what I just said? You could have somebody that can just walk you around and show you things, but you need to negotiate the price before. It has nothing to do with sex.
Was she walking you around and showing you things?
Absolutely.
I hate that you out here lying.
I just said absolutely she was. She was walking around and showing me things.
How long have you talked to this young lady before that? Was it the first time you met her when we got over there?
No, it was the second time I met her. It was the second time we were down there. Yeah.
How long have you known her?
I had known her for like 3 or 4 months.
So she just wasn't a tour guide.
No, she wasn't a tour guide. But when I use that aspect, what I'm telling for guys that are listening to the broadcast, when you go to the Dominican Republic and you're going to spend time with the person, I don't care if it's even in a taxi cab, you negotiate the price first before you get in. If you get on a motococho, you negotiate the price before you get on the back of the motococho. That's that culture. That's how they do business.
What price did y'all negotiate before that?
Huh?
What price did y'all negotiate before that?
Well, we didn't really negotiate a price.
Was she thinking she was going to be Mrs. Saadiq?
No, she didn't think that. No. You can't meet somebody and just say, "Oh, we're going to get." No, that ain't how it works. I mean, yeah, I was getting to know her. We were getting to know each other.
Enamored with each other, from what I can see.
Yeah, we were getting to know each other and stuff like that. But it wasn't like, "Oh, we're going to go get married." No, we were getting to know each other. And then when she went for the big pockets, that was her downfall right there.
Did you not have any inclination that she was going to do that?
Yes, I did. But then I was hoping that wasn't the case, because if she didn't do it, then we were going to make it. But she went for it, and then that's when I had to cut her loose.
So she basically was like, "I'm gonna run. I'm gonna play. You know what I need to play, and then I'm gonna hit him with the price tag."
Well, what it is no, she didn't hit me like with an exorbitant price tag. It's what I was going to give her. But the thing is, see, what it is because I'm well traveled. A lot of these people think that my kindness is weakness, and it's not. Because I've lived overseas, and you know how I roll. Like when I was in South Africa, remember we were walking and you were like, "Well, I don't know about this area." And I was like, "No, let's just keep going. Blah, 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 blah. Everything's good." So So they look at me like I'm naive when I'm really not naive. I know what's going on. I know what's expected of me to do. I know what a reasonable price is. I'm not going to pay you $1,000 because you showed me a few things that I could have seen on my own. No, that's ridiculous.
But see, my thing is this: she wasn't a tour guide, and I'm not saying necessarily saying that, but that's kind of the thing. She wasn't a tour guide. From what I saw from my vantage point, which was directly across the hallway from you guys' humble abode, I saw that you two were really into each other. It was, yeah, I was like, okay.
Wait a minute. She was into me. I wasn't doing all that. I was doing my best Ike Turner.
You lying.
I was doing my best Ike Turner.
You lying. You are lying. I thought I was like, okay, I'm gonna get an invitation probably in the next year.
Yeah, remember, she was a good tour guide and stuff like that. And she showed us around.
Tour guide.
No. What I'm saying is, when she was showing us around, she was a good person that did all that.
Show us shit.
When we were in Boca Chica and you guys got caught up,
she didn't do nothing. She didn't do anything.
But the point is, she was interpreting.
Nah, she ain't interpreting shit. Because that lady ran from across the street, was like,
no, I'm not talking about that. Like at the restaurants and stuff, she had her role to do what she needed to do.
Marty didn't say a hot word. She might have said a couple things, but she wasn't like demonstrative.
Oh no, she's not going to do that. But I'm talking about like when we're at the restaurant, she's reading the menus and stuff like that, whatever. But the point is, I gave her a fair price and said, here's what's going to go, and that was it. But that's to be expected for their time. See, you got to know where you're at. I wasn't offended at that. It's the fact that she wanted more than what was fair, in my opinion. And this is what we talk about the passport, bro, especially these young guys. They come down here with their American attitudes. You're going to give these girls $250 for a good time or whatever you're doing. You're driving the prices up. That's ridiculous. If you're going to spend $250, you might as well stay in the United States. See, but that takes knowledge and skill and people that know what's going on. There's no way I would pay American prices in another country. There's just no way I would do that if I'm going to be tricky.
I was just trying to figure out what went wrong. I thought I was getting an invitation. I thought I was going to be a flower girl or something.
What went wrong was one of the biggest problems that went wrong was she watches too much American TV and follows behind the American situation. That's one of the things that went wrong.
So if you was gonna get your head bumped overseas, why didn't you just stay over here and get your head bumped?
No. But like I said, I didn't think I was gonna I'm never gonna get my head bumped overseas no matter where I go. But the point with her was, and I still talk to her every now and then. The problem with her was one of the problems I had with her.
Blocked her.
I did, but I unblocked her too, and I started talking to her. But here's the thing, though. No, seriously, and we're good friends now. But here's the thing that was really a problem with me. She had expectations of what I would get here in the United States, and I was like, no, I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that.
What? I don't know what kind of expectations.
She wants to get her nails done. She wants to get her hair done. That's on you. You go get that done on your own time.
Because you was in the mall. I'll buy her whatever she wants. She never asked for anything else. She's so nice.
Yeah.
Right. Picking out outfits and everything.
Outfits?
Yeah, you was.
We didn't get no outfits.
Yes, you was. We was in Forever 21. You was picking out things that look good on her.
But we didn't get anything, though. We didn't get anything.
You did.
No, we didn't. We got what did we get?
I took a picture, remember, because I said,
what did we get?
You bought her I think you bought her like 2 outfits.
No, we didn't. Did we?
Yes, you did. I'm gonna find the picture because I said.
Okay, find the picture because I don't remember that. But even if I did, okay, I bought her a thing. I don't think I did though.
But I guess the point that I make is I don't see what the issue was because, like I said, y'all was get that lovey-dovey.
He was a modern woman, like a lot, and they're having problems in the Dominican Republic right now, where these younger girls and girls that are fairly young, and Madi was what 32.
She's 27.
Well, okay, but she's mature. She's mature, but the point is, they're having a modern problem with these women wanting to be like Cardi B and all that other stuff, and they're having problems like that. I did not come to the Dominican Republic to find a woman that I can find right here in the United States.
Well, I want to say Cardi B It's Dominican Republic. She's Dominican rather. She's not American. So that ain't on us that she was trying to be Cardi B. Maybe she thought she looked a little bit
No, but we got to remember though, we know Cardi's Dominican, but she has that American by this and, and things like that. That's what's going on.
Nah, y'all not blaming that on us. Y'all not blaming that.
Yes, the trend and the name brand stuff. Yes, that's American. Yes, it is.
Nah, y'all ain't gonna blame that on us, because I'm gonna tell you what it is those women are very smart, and I say this all the time. They're very smart, and they know y'all going over there looking for that woman that y'all can just drag up out the cave, and she's submissive.
Not me. Not me.
So they play along. I believe, honestly, you want to know, I think Molly really did speak English. I really think she do speak English, but I think that's their little thing. Oh, Piquito. Oh, no. Hey, Bobby. That type of thing. And they like, you just wait. I'm a Lord of boom on this man. And I think that's kind of what they do. But so they ain't got nothing to do with us.
Well, like I said, tricking here or tricking there, it's still tricking at the end of the day.
Which is why y'all might as well stay y'all black asses over here.
No, hell no, because there's definitely greener pastures in other countries. I'm not saying it's not just, we're talking about the Dominican Republic. There's the Philippines, there's Thailand, there's all other places you can go. And
yet you and your homeboys have been all over the globe looking for premium kitty cats and ain't found one yet.
Nope, that ain't what I'm doing. So I don't know, that's what I'm saying. You guys are generalizing. That ain't what I'm doing. And I don't do that. So
I'm not generalizing. I'm asking questions.
No, you said we're looking for kitty cat. That ain't, that's one thing I don't do.
Well, why I ain't got a pseudo sister-in-law?
Because I'm still looking.
Damn. How long?
I have high requirements.
Can I ask you a question? What's the 3 top requirements you have of these women that you're looking for?
Peaceful. They can cook. And in the bedroom, just like James Evans used to say, the kitchen of the bedroom. There's women
over here that can do that.
But they don't without giving you all this guff and kickback.
Have you been with every black woman in America?
I haven't been with every black woman, but I have been with black women. So
you ain't been with all of them?
No, I haven't been with all of them.
Got you. I mean, I was just asking some questions, because I know people are probably like, wow, he's been over there a lot. Is he a resident of the Dominican Republic? No. Well,
actually, I'm looking into that because the reason why I like the Dominican Republic, like I said, I immerse myself in the culture. Number one, it's a quick trip off the United States. I love island living. I was raised on an island, and it has everything, the amenities that I need there. I might not live in Sosúa. I might go to Santo Domingo, but they have the medical clinic. And if you could go to my show, I've been talking about the foreign medical program if you're a veteran, to where you can get your medical needs met. And that's one of the biggest problems when it comes to being an expat living overseas. Even though a lot of countries have universal health care, it might not be the best health care. So if you're in the foreign medical program, which goes to the State Department, that's your biggest issue. As I get older, I want to be able to know that I will get what I need, even though I'm overseas, rather than having to buy a last minute $1,000 airline ticket just to come to the States to do an appointment. I can do it right there in that home country. So that's one of the biggest things.
So basically, you ain't moving over there no time soon, though.
If I can, if I can't move over there anytime soon, I'll be over there for 3 or 4 months.
Okay, well, hopefully I get an invite one time in the next 10 years.
And matter of fact, if I do go over there, if you saw my Facebook page, you notice I was putting up properties and stuff like that, showing where I was looking at and stuff like that, because I'm not chasing kitty cat. Everything that I decided to do, I have to think about my mom. I'm gonna have to bring my mother with me. So everything that I looked at had to be a 2-bedroom minimum.
What if she don't want your mama to go with you?
She ain't got a choice. My mother's coming with me.
But if you go get looking for a wife, your wife will come first, right?
Yes, but that's a different aspect. It's just a different aspect. You got to know how to. You got to know how to balance it. My mother is by herself, so I'm not going to forsake my mother when it falls on me to do that. And any woman that wants to be with me will respect that, because just like I wouldn't want her to forsake her parents.
But y'all, you see the bull cockery that goes on. When you trying to grill me about my daughter and the man, with a man, it would have a problem with your daughter type of thing. But yet, as a man, you want a woman to be all right with your mama coming. Now, I don't have an issue with your mama coming on, but I'm just saying in general, there's a lot of women that would not want their man's mama to come along or whatever the case is.
And that's fine. And that woman ain't for me. That's fine. That woman ain't for me. Because anybody would know this is my only parent. I'm not going to forsake my only parent. That's not going to happen.
Well, her living with you not living with you don't mean that you're forsaking her.
No, but that doesn't mean she's living with me. When I say living with me, for like right now as a single man, I'm looking at 2 bedrooms with me and my mom. If I got married with something, I would get me a property and have my mom on the other property. My mother's going to be situated.
Gotcha. So because you said your mama had to come with you in order for you to go.
Yeah. There's a way to do it. Yeah, it isn't like mama's.
If your mom don't want to go, are you going?
If my mom wants to go?
If she doesn't want to go.
What do you mean, to the DR?
Yeah, you're going to go look over there for a wife or wherever you're going to go. And you find a young lady or whatever the case is. And then you're like, great, we're going to get married. But now I got to bring my mom. And your mom's like, hell no, I ain't going over there.
Then my mom ain't going to go. Then she's just not going to go. I mean, I can't take away. It's kind of like your dad. They still think that they're freedom and stuff, even though they're getting older in their years and stuff. But eventually, I'm going to put the hammer down and I'm going to have to take control of my mom and say, this is what is going to happen because I can't deal with you. My mom's in Louisiana right now. That's 2,000 something miles away from where I'm at right now. I can't help her 2,000 something miles away. It's not going to happen. So to make it easier on everybody, I'm just going to have to take the control and do what I have to do. And my mother, I ever talked to my mom about it when I was over there. It was really cool too. Long story short, my mother doesn't have a problem. She's been to the Philippines. She's been to these places. My mother was in the army. So stuff like that doesn't affect her like it would a normal person who's never been anywhere.
Let me say this. I heard somebody told me a woman said this to him once. And she said, I will not date a guy unless his mother is dead. Because in a lot of cases, and she said in the Black community, and I guess that's who she dealt with, the man is like in a relationship with his mama. The mama comes first. That's
a son husband. That's a son husband.
Yeah. So she says, unless his mama's dead, I'm not dating a man who's his mom is in his life because, I essentially become the other woman. He can't do anything without his mama. His mama's always in the mix, and the mama.
Yeah, no. And now my mom. Me and my mom are like oil and vinegar, so we don't mix at all. We bump heads and stuff like that. So me and my mom don't have that kind of relationship.
Well, I'm not saying you do, but I'm just wondering your thoughts about that. A woman saying, I won't date a man unless his mama dead because the mama be too much in the way.
And kick rock, sweetheart. Mwah. Good luck. Because, really for a lot of ladies, if you really think about it, and we're not talking about the son husbands, because I know what you're talking about, those simp type guys, those are simp type dudes. If a man treats his mother well, that tells a lot about how that man's going to treat you.
And if he treat her bad, it says a lot too. And I've always said that you can tell how a man treats a woman most of the time, not all the time, by how he treats his mama. The relationship they have, him and his mama have, is probably going to be the type of relationship he has with women. And I'll never deviate from that. All right. So anyway, let's play this game. Tonight's conversation. I have 3 questions. I don't think that I've asked them before. If I did, Donovan will remind me. This is a good one. If your credit score was a person, describe what kind of person it would be.
Elon Musk.
Okay, explain.
Elon Musk, there's nothing else to explain. Rich, filthy rich, get what I want.
My credit score was a person. Describe what kind of person that would be. It'd be a person that could go and pretty much get whatever they want. Could walk into a car dealership and not have to put a down payment and, all of those things. It's pretty free to roam about the country credit-wise. It's pretty good. You know what I mean? And they are kind of footloose, fancy-free. They know they can, but they don't because they're disciplined. You know what I mean? They're confident in knowing that there's a lot of things they could do in life. And when the time is right, they'll do them. They're not hindered by, oh, well, I wish I could, but I can't because, situation is not right. And I'll also say that person is responsible because, in order to have good credit, you have to be responsible, right? Like you got to pay things off. You got to pay them on time and all of that. So I would say my credit score is it's a very, very, very healthy individual with a whole lot of the attributes. Elon Musk, I don't know about that. Might be like, if I had to say a person, they're probably Rihanna. My credit score is like Rihanna. Okay. I don't know if we've asked this before. Do you want to be in a long-term committed relationship? We asked that before? I think so. Okay. Did we ask this one? What attracted you to your ex? Do you see any? Okay. Well, this one.
We didn't ask that one.
Huh?
We didn't ask that one.
Okay. What attracted you to your ex?
Okay. Which baby mama? The first one or the second one?
I don't know. What are your ex?
My last one.
Ex.
Well,
Yeah.
what attracted me to her, my last wife, what attracted me to her was...
Oh, that ain't your ex?
Well, who would be my ex?
You had, well, the most recent one I know of is the chick. What was her name?
Oh, the one in the house. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. Let's talk about her then. Okay, fine. Like a normal man that I am, it's physical attraction. I mean, the woman was gorgeous for her age. She had a nice shape, nice. She was all that nice. I mean, she was shaped like an S. It's just simple as that, and that's what attracted me to her. And men are visual creatures, and we like what we see, and that's what attracted me to her. And then she was accomplished in the fact that she was a what do you call that? A nurse? What do you call that? Whatever she did.
A nurse, LVN.
Yeah, LVN and stuff like that. And she had a really good spirit about her when it comes to fun. She was really, really a really nice person. She really was until things went left. But that's what attracted me to her. She was highly an attractive woman.
Okay. Ooh. I'm just looking to see if we had. I think we did most of these. Okay, I got one. I don't think we did.
Well, you got to answer the question. Your ex.
Huh? No, I'm just kidding. What
happened? Because he looked like El DeBarge.
No. I didn't even think that he looked like, and I still don't think he looks like El DeBarge per se. What attracted me to him is he's very kind. And I say that even to this day, he was very kind to me. Very thoughtful, considerate, very expressive. If I ever needed anything, he was there, that kind of stuff. And I would say really up to that point, I've never been with anybody like that. You know what I mean? Who was very out in the open with how he felt about me and things like that. So that was very attractive. I guess I was smitten, if you will. He wooed me, as some of the older people would say. And so that was attractive. He was good looking. That was helpful. But I'm one of those people like, yeah, you're good looking, so what type of thing. It helps. Don't get me wrong. But how do you treat me ultimately? You know what I mean? And I think, and I think he did. He did treat me fairly well, I would say, and I think a lot of people saw that he did, So that's what was attractive to me. Very caring and thoughtful and considerate and, all
very
of
funny.
that.
He was very funny.
Yeah, funny, very humorous and, adventurous and all that type of stuff. I remember our first date per se.
Was that when he lost his wallet?
That was the second one. But no, not the second, but another time where I went to Magic Mountain, and he's like a giant kid, right? He likes all the rides and, all that other stuff. And, it's not that I don't like the rides. It's that some of them make me ill. It's just an equilibrium thing, right? Like I'm one of those people who cannot even get on a swing. Even the smell of the swings make me sick. It's the weirdest thing. Ever since I was a child, I could never do it, right? So anyway, it's funny. We get to the park, and we didn't even go into the park good, and I threw up. I got sick. I'm throwing up. I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. He's probably going to think I don't want to get on the rides. So anyway, that lasted for like an hour or two. It was very hot, threw up. And we did start to get on the rides. So now there was this one ride, Superman ride. I was like, I don't want to get on that one. Because I got on it once before. I didn't like it. And do you know this fool said to me, now this is why I know I was in love. Okay, he says, if you love me, you would do it. And so I was like, so I sat down because, and when you go to the rides, you can hop over the ride and say, I'm going to meet you on the other side when you done riding the ride. So I was just going to walk through and sit, and meet him on the other side. So I sat down and I was like, now I'm thinking this because the Superman ride could go either forward or backward. I'm thinking the damn thing is going to go forward. So at this point, we're at the back of the thing. I'm trying to rationalize it all in my head. All right, it ain't going to be that bad. We in the back. And, it ain't going to be that bad. Do you know that this ride went backwards? This ride went backwards. So we were at the front of the damn ride. And I tell you, I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not getting on another ride with you. If you don't know I love you by now, I don't know what to tell you. But so that was like, our first date is like a big kid. And I like that, honestly, with men. I like men with a sense of humor. I like men who aren't too serious. They're kind of stuffy, things like that. So yeah, that was kind of fun in your older upper quartiles of being 40 to lose your lunch and be dizzy and stuff like that on all the rides. So yeah, that was an attractive trait about him. He was very adventurous. So that's it, y'all. We don't have any more. So we'll see you guys on Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. We're going to talk about something I think is pretty interesting. I think y'all find it to be very interesting. Want y'all opinion. Of course, we're going to put the link so you guys can join the chat and render your opinion. So anyway, we have ways to help the channel. If you would like to do so, please like, subscribe, become a member, donate, or whatever you need to do to help the channel. We love and appreciate you. Of course, the members, we love you dearly. So we will see y'all tomorrow. You guys be good and have a great rest of the day. Peace.